What if everything you believe about life is only half the truth? What if the way you see the world is quietly shaping your reality and limiting it? Not because you're weak, not because you're lazy, but because you've never been shown another way. Most people drift through life with their eyes half open, chasing what they were told matters: money, approval, safety, while deep down something doesn't feel right. You know that feeling, that silent voice inside that whispers, "This isn't it." The truth is, most of us live reacting to life, not creating it. We move from one moment to the next, busy but not fulfilled, surrounded but still alone, alive but not truly living. We keep going, thinking maybe the next milestone will fix the emptiness, maybe the next relationship, the next paycheck, the next big break. But it never does. You weren't born to just survive. You were born to feel, to grow, to shape your life with intention and courage. But somewhere along the way fear crept in, fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. And over time those fears built walls. Walls around your dreams, walls around your confidence, walls around the life you once imagined. And when those walls get high enough, you stop questioning them. You call them reality. But they're not real. They're made of old beliefs, inherited doubts, and stories that never belonged to you. The moment you realize that, everything starts to shift. Because the truth is, life changes the second you change the way you look at it. That's not some empty phrase. It's a turning point. You've felt it before. Those moments where something cracks open inside you. A conversation, a breakdown, a choice, and suddenly, nothing looks the same. The world doesn't change, but your perspective does, and that changes everything. You don't need the world to be different, you need to see it differently. When you do, the fear loses power, the doubts grow quieter, the path becomes clearer. You realize you're not stuck, you are just looking at the map upside down. If you're still here, listening, it's because you're ready. Ready to stop existing and start living. Ready to tear down the invisible barriers that have held you back. This moment, right now, is the line in the sand. The choice to see life not as something happening to you, but something waiting to be shaped by you. Everything that's ever held you down is real, yes, but it's not final, not unless you let it be. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. You won't go back to sleep. Because deep down you know this, your life is too precious to waste in half-light. The rest of this video will show you how to wake up fully, to live boldly, to never settle again. Stay with me. This will change how you see life, forever. You were never broken, only buried. Buried under expectations you never agreed to. Buried under years of being told who to be, what to want, how to act. They handed you a script before you ever had the chance to write your own. Be polite. Be practical. Don't ask too many questions. Don't dream too big. And slowly, without noticing, you traded your fire for approval. You traded your voice for silence. You traded your freedom for belonging. But the truth is, the world doesn't reward conformity. It rewards courage. It rewards those who dare to question the path everyone else blindly follows. You've been taught to believe that playing it safe is the smart choice, that coloring inside the lines will lead to happiness. But safety is not the same as fulfillment. Predictability is not the same as peace. And comfort is not the same as purpose. Every time you swallowed your truth to fit in, you carved a piece off yourself. Every time you settled for less, you taught yourself you didn't deserve more. And that message, repeated over time, became a belief. But beliefs can be broken. They are not facts. They are just thoughts you've thought too many times. And the moment you question them, the spell breaks. Suddenly, you're not weak. You were just conditioned. You're not lost. You were just misled. And you were not stuck. You were just following a path that was never yours. That realization is power. It's the key to the cage. It's the light cracking through the ceiling you didn't know was above you. Because when you finally understand that you've been living inside someone else's blueprint, you also realize you can burn it. You can rebuild. You can rewrite everything. You don't need to prove your worth by following someone else's plan. You were born worthy. You were born free. And the life that truly belongs to you is still waiting. Waiting for the moment you stop asking for permission. Waiting for the moment you stop living by default. Because the system you were taught to obey, school, job, survive, repeat, was never designed to make you thrive. It was designed to make you behave. But your soul didn't come here to behave. It came here to rise, to feel deeply, to create, to break, to rebuild, to live wide open. And that life, the one your heart aches for, it begins the moment you let go of the script, the moment you stop trying to be what they wanted, and start becoming who you truly are. It won't be easy. You'll feel resistance. You'll feel fear. But those feelings are signs you're alive again. They're signs you're waking up. And once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. You'll see through the noise. You'll hear your own voice again. And it will be loud. It will be clear. It will be yours. Keep listening. This is your beginning. Comfort is seductive. It whispers lies dressed as love. It tells you to stay where it's warm, where it's familiar, where you don't have to risk anything. It promises peace, but delivers numbness. It offers stillness, but kills momentum. And before you know it, years pass. Dreams fade. The fire you once felt becomes a distant echo. You stop chasing what excites you and start defending what you already have. But what if what you have isn't enough? What if staying safe is the very thing that's making you feel stuck? You weren't meant to coast through life, managing decline. You were meant to rise, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts, because every great life is built outside the walls of comfort. Growth demands discomfort. That's not punishment, it's proof. Proof that you're stepping into something greater. The pain you feel when you stretch past your limits is the pain of becoming. It's the body, the mind, the spirit saying, "We've never been here before, but we're ready now." Most people retreat the moment that resistance shows up. They mistake discomfort for danger, when it's really a signal of expansion. The fear, the doubt, the uncertainty, those are not signs to turn back. They are signs you're moving forward. You never grow when life is easy. You grow when it's hard, when everything in you wants to quit, but one small part refuses to give in. That part, that quiet refusal, is where your power lives. But power doesn't shout. It waits. It waits for you to remember who you are when no one is watching, when there's nothing to prove, nothing to perform. Just you facing yourself. That's where transformation begins, not in front of others, but alone, in the mirror, in the dark, when you choose to keep going anyway. Comfort will tell you to stop. Courage tells you to rise. And you always get to choose which voice you listen to. One leads to regret. The other leads to becoming everything you were born to be. You can't become unstoppable by staying unchallenged. You can't live a legendary life on autopilot. The path to fulfillment is paved with broken habits, hard truths, and unshakable decisions. You will be tempted to go back to the familiar, to shrink, to blend in. But deep down you know you were never meant to hide. You were never meant to play small. There is more in you, and it's waiting to be claimed. But it can only be claimed by the version of you that's willing to walk through the fire, not run from it. That's how confidence is built. That's how resilience is born. And that's how you wake up one day not just alive, but free. Don't settle for easy. Don't settle for safe. That's not where your life is. Your life is out there, past the edge of what you think you can handle. Go to that edge. Step into the unknown. That's where everything begins. The reason most people never change is because they keep waiting for the fear to go away. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect sign, the perfect confidence. But that moment never comes, because fear doesn't disappear before the leap, it fades after. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in spite of it. And until you understand that, fear will own you. It will dress itself as logic, as reason, as responsibility. It will sound like, what if I fail? Or what will they think? But behind every fear is the life you actually want. Behind every excuse is a door you haven't walked through yet. And that door? It opens the second you stop waiting for permission. Your brain is wired to protect you, not to evolve you. It's programmed to avoid discomfort, to choose survival over significance. That's why doing what's right for your soul can feel wrong to your body. That's why your hands shake when you speak your truth. That's why your heart races when you take a risk. But that reaction isn't a warning, it's a signal. It means you're stepping out of the old and into the real. Fear is proof that what you're doing matters. And the deeper the fear, the more important the step. The goal is not to kill fear. The goal is to stop letting it sit in the driver's seat. There is no growth without friction, no clarity without chaos, no breakthrough without breakdown. The things you're afraid to do are the very things that will change your life. And the only way to silence the fear is to do the thing you're scared of. Not once, not perfectly, but consistently. You train your nervous system to be brave the same way you train your muscles to be strong. Through repetition, through resistance, through showing up when it's hard. That's where transformation is born. Not in the idea, but in the doing. Not in waiting for the fear to shrink, but in rising bigger than it. You don't need a 10-year plan. You don't need all the answers. You just need to take the next courageous step. Speak the truth you've been holding back. Start the project you've been avoiding. Walk away from what's breaking you. Say yes to what sets your soul on fire. The life you want is on the other side of the action you've been putting off. And when you take it, something shifts. The fear doesn't vanish, but it loses its grip. You start to feel something stronger than fear. Pride. Pride that you moved anyway. Pride that you didn't run. And that pride becomes momentum. Momentum becomes belief. Belief becomes identity. And identity becomes destiny. So if fear is in the room, good. That means you're close. That means you're alive. Don't run from it. Stand in it. Look it in the eyes and move forward anyway. Because fear only wins if you don't move. Keep moving. Keep becoming. Keep breaking through. Every step you take through fear reshapes the way you see yourself. You stop identifying with the old version of you, the one who hesitated, who second-guessed, who waited for the world to say go. Instead, you start seeing yourself as someone capable, someone who follows through, someone who keeps promises to themselves. That shift isn't small. It changes everything. Because the moment you believe you can trust yourself, the game of life changes. You stop needing constant motivation. You stop waiting to feel ready. You stop begging for signs. You act, not because you always feel like it, but because you've decided who you are. And when identity aligns with action, you become unstoppable. You've been told to chase success, but success without self-respect is just another form of emptiness. It looks good on the outside but leaves you hollow on the inside. What matters more is integrity, the quiet power of knowing you didn't abandon yourself, of doing what you said you'd do, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. That's how confidence is built, not by wishing, not by hoping, but by acting in alignment with your values when no one is watching. When you live that way, something awakens in you, a fire that doesn't flicker with the winds of doubt or delay, a strength that doesn't need to be seen to be real. You stop trying to convince the world of your worth. You know it. That kind of self-belief isn't arrogance. It's liberation. It's the freedom to walk into any room, any challenge, any decision, and still hold your center. Not because you have all the answers, but because you trust yourself to figure them out. And that trust isn't built overnight. It's earned. Every time you show up for yourself, every time you do the thing you didn't think you could do, every time you rise when it would have been easier to quit, that's where real power is found. Not in what you achieve, but in who you become on the way there. You were never meant to stay small. Playing small doesn't protect you, it drains you. It eats away at your soul bit by bit until you no longer recognize the person in the mirror. But you're not here to be invisible. You're here to lead yourself into the life you've always felt was possible. You're here to make decisions from strength, not scarcity, from clarity, not fear. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest. Honest about what you want. Honest about what's not working. Honest about what needs to change. The world doesn't need more people who play it safe. It needs more people who rise. Rise with shaky hands. Rise with a racing heart. Rise with no guarantees. That rise is where freedom begins. And that freedom is already inside you. It's not waiting. It's not hiding. It's just quiet until you choose to listen. So listen, then act, then rise. There's a version of you that already exists beyond the fear, the doubt, the hesitation. A version that doesn't beg for permission, doesn't shrink in the face of uncertainty, doesn't apologize for wanting more. That version isn't some distant dream. It's you stripped of everything that never belonged. You don't need to become someone else. You need to return to who you were before the world told you who to be. The real you isn't fragile. The real you isn't lost. The real you is waiting. For one thing, alignment. When your actions match your truth, you stop living in conflict. You stop fighting yourself. You stop waking up tired from carrying the weight of a life that doesn't reflect who you are. And when that alignment begins, everything changes. Not overnight, but relentlessly. The moment you stop abandoning yourself, you stop tolerating what drains you. You stop chasing things that numb the pain. You stop confusing distraction for peace. You become intentional. And with intention comes clarity, not all at once, but piece by piece. You start to feel what's real, what lights you up, what pulls you forward, what no longer fits, and you begin to let go. Not because it's easy, but because your soul can't afford to stay where it's not growing. Growth requires loss. Loss of false identities. Loss of approval you don't need. Loss of comfort that's become a cage. But what you gain in return is worth everything. Yourself. Self-respect. Self-trust. Self-ownership. These aren't luxuries. They're lifelines. And they're built the moment you decide to stop betraying yourself for anything or anyone. No more shrinking to be liked. No more waiting to be chosen. No more delaying your dreams until conditions are perfect. This is your life, not a rehearsal, not a draft. The real thing. And the clock doesn't stop. Every day you wait, you feed the version of you that doubts. But every small decision to move forward feeds the version that believes. And belief, when watered daily, becomes unshakable. You don't have to do everything today. You just have to do the next right thing. The hard conversation. The brave choice. The habit you've been avoiding. One step at a time, repeated in truth, compounds into transformation. And transformation doesn't shout. It whispers. At first, but soon, it roars. You begin to feel the shift. You stand taller. You speak clearer. You breathe deeper. You carry a different energy. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And when you change, the world responds. You don't have to chase your worth. You don't have to earn your right to rise. You were born for this. Born to evolve. Born to rise. Born to lead yourself home. It's not too late. You're not too far gone. You're exactly where you're meant to be, the edge of everything real. Take one more breath. Choose one more step. The path is already yours. Now walk it. The moment you begin to walk your own path, the world will test you. Not to break you, but to see how serious you are. It will ask you if you really mean it, if you really want it, if you're willing to let go of the noise, the approval, the easy way out. It will throw resistance at you, not to stop you but to sharpen you. The pressure you feel isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's life stretching you into someone who can carry what you've been asking for. You're not being held back, you're being forged, and the fire that feels like it's burning you is the same fire that will build your strength. Strength of focus, strength of character, strength of heart. If it were meant to be easy, everyone would live fulfilled. Everyone would wake up with purpose. Everyone would rise with discipline and devotion. But most don't. Not because they're incapable, but because they've been lulled into believing that comfort is the goal. It's not. Fulfillment doesn't come from ease. It comes from meaning, from facing the very things that scare you, from leaning into the discomfort and choosing to grow anyway. That's the path. The one that breaks you open just enough for the light to come in. You won't always feel ready. You won't always feel certain. But certainty isn't the requirement. Commitment is. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when you question why you started, when the weight feels too heavy. But those moments are not signs to stop. They're signs to dig deeper. When you feel resistance, it means you're close to a breakthrough. Don't pull back. Don't retreat. Lean in. You are being stretched for a reason. The future you're building needs a stronger version of you, and that strength is being carved in this exact moment. You don't rise by avoiding pressure. You rise by breathing through it, by holding your ground, by remembering why you began. No one is coming to save you. No perfect moment is arriving to carry you forward. It's on you. But that's not a burden. It's power. Because it means you don't have to wait anymore. You don't have to ask for permission. You don't have to wait to feel brave. You just decide. And that decision, when made with conviction, has the power to change everything. Even when it's quiet. Even when it's unseen. Even when no one claps. Real transformation begins long before the world notices. It begins the moment you choose to no longer abandon yourself. Every second you hesitate, the old version of you grows stronger. But every time you act, even in fear, the new you takes shape. Bit by bit, thought by thought, choice by choice, and soon you won't need to force belief. It will become your default. Keep moving, keep rising, keep choosing what calls you higher. You're not becoming someone new. You're returning to the truth that's always been yours. Most people never live, they exist. They follow routines that numb them, repeat days that drain them, and settle for lives that barely touch the surface of who they could become. They call it normal, they call it responsible. But deep down, they feel the ache, that quiet pull inside that says, there's more, and there is more. More strength, more depth, more purpose. But you will never access it by staying where it's safe. You were not built to blend in with a life that silences your voice and smothers your potential. You were built to break limits, to rise from patterns, to outgrow versions of yourself that were never meant to last forever. Change doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. Radical, repeated, unshakable choice. The choice to break cycles you didn't create. The choice to rewrite beliefs you inherited but never agreed to. The choice to stop making excuses and start making commitments. The choice to stop explaining yourself and start becoming yourself. That choice doesn't come once. It comes every single day. And every time you make it, you build a life that reflects who you really are, not who the world told you to be, not who fear shaped you into, but who your soul has always known you are. The more aligned you become, the more resistance you'll feel, not just from the outside but from within. The old self fights for survival. It will whisper lies in the voice of reason. It will beg you to slow down, to settle, to shrink. Don't listen. That inner friction is proof that something sacred is happening. You're detaching from what once defined you. You're stepping into unknown territory. And that unknown, that's where all your power lives. Growth doesn't feel like winning in the beginning. It feels like shedding. It feels like grief. It feels like walking away from everything that once gave you comfort but now costs you your peace. Let it go. If it's rooted in fear, it's not your future. The truth is, you already know what you need to do. The step you're avoiding is the one that will set you free. You don't need more time. You don't need another sign. You need honesty. The kind of honesty that burns through denial and forces you to look at your life with open eyes. What are you tolerating that's keeping you small? What habits are stealing your focus, your joy, your energy? What truth have you been too afraid to speak? Say it, face it, own it. Only then can you rise. You are one decision away from a completely different life, one act of courage away from unlocking who you were always meant to be. The door is open, the path is clear, the fear is real, but so is your strength. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be all in. This is your time, this is your turn. Don't just exist, live. Boldly, bravely, fully. There is a quiet power that lives inside of you, a force that doesn't need permission, approval, or applause. It is not loud, but it is unshakable. And it waits for one thing, your decision to stop hiding. The moment you stop pretending to be less than you are, you begin to unlock the strength that's been buried beneath years of doubt, distraction, and delay. You weren't born to play small. You weren't meant to live a life that feels numb and familiar. You were meant to rise. Even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble, even if no one understands yet. The real you has waited long enough. The fear you feel isn't a warning, it's a signal. It means you're close to something real. Close to the edge of who you've been and who you're becoming. That fear? It's just the gatekeeper. It wants to see how badly you want it. It wants to know if you're ready to break through the lies you've believed. Lies that say you're too late, too flawed, too far gone. But you are none of those things. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not lost. You are unfolding. And you are not behind. You are right on time for the version of you that's ready to lead. Stop negotiating with your limitations. Stop making room for patterns that keep you small. Stop watering down your vision to fit into boxes that were never meant to hold you. This is your life. This is your story. And no one else gets to write the next chapter but you. The pen is in your hands now. You get to decide what happens next. You get to choose whether you keep repeating or finally start evolving. Growth is not about adding more. It's about removing what no longer reflects who you are becoming. Shed it, release it, outgrow it. When you remove what's false, what's real begins to rise. You don't need more information. You need execution. You don't need more motivation. You need movement. Even the smallest step when taken in truth shifts the entire direction of your life. That is power. That is ownership. That is freedom. No more waiting. No more wishing. No more hoping someone else sees your value. You see it. You claim it. You live it. Because no one can want your future more than you. And no one can create it but you. Everything you've been through has prepared you for this point. Every challenge. Every doubt. Every setback. It's all been shaping something deeper inside. Not weakness. Not defeat. But resilience. Now it's your turn to rise with that resilience. To lead with it. To live by it. You are not here to survive this life. You are here to shape it. With presence. With purpose. With power. The kind that can't be given or taken. Only owned. Now own it. Fully. Fiercely. Without apology. You were not made to stay where you started. You were made to evolve. To expand. To step beyond what you once thought was possible. The version of you that's been surviving is not the same version that will thrive. Survival teaches you how to endure. But now, it's time to learn how to live. To rise above coping and step into creating. To stop rehearsing your limits and begin writing your potential in real time. You've seen what happens when you play it safe. You've felt the slow erosion of your spirit when you betray your own calling. Now feel what happens when you say yes to growth, even when it scares you. Especially when it scares you. Comfort zones aren't built for fulfillment. They're built for familiarity. They give you the illusion of control, but they quietly drain your power. What they really do is rob you of progress. They keep you stuck in cycles that look easy but feel empty. You're not stuck because you're weak. You're stuck because you keep choosing what feels certain over what feels right. But comfort won't carry you to the life you truly want. Only courage will. And courage doesn't always feel bold. It often feels like trembling hands doing the right thing anyway. Every moment you hesitate to move forward is a moment you reinforce the life you're trying to outgrow. Doubt is a habit, so is fear, but so is belief, so is action. And you get to decide which one you repeat. You get to stop letting fear speak louder than your future. You get to interrupt the noise with a whisper that says, I am ready. Not ready in the way the world defines it. Not perfect, not fully certain, not guaranteed, but ready in your soul. Ready because you can't keep denying what you feel. Ready because the cost of staying small is greater than the risk of growing. Ready because the life calling to you is louder than the voice trying to hold you back. There is no path forward without responsibility. If you want power, you must claim the weight of your choices. No more blame. No more waiting for someone else to lead. This is your life, and it won't shift until you do. The truth is, your breakthrough isn't a moment. It's a mindset. It's how you show up, how you choose, how you persist. It's found in the small decisions no one sees. The ones that build strength when it's easier to collapse. The ones that build character when no one is watching. The ones that build vision when the world around you only sees limitations. You don't rise by wishing for better days. You rise by becoming the person who creates them. You already have what it takes. It's not something you find, it's something you unleash. Stop shrinking to fit into places you've outgrown. Stop apologizing for wanting more. You are allowed to outgrow your past. You are allowed to grow louder than your fear. You are allowed to become everything they said you couldn't. You don't need to wait until everything makes sense. You don't need every detail to be perfect before you begin. You only need to trust that your next step matters, because it does. One small intentional move in the direction of who you want to be can shift your entire future. It's not about speed, it's about truth, and truth always carries power. When you act in alignment with what you know is right for you, something changes, not just outside you, but within. You begin to feel the strength of your own integrity. You begin to trust yourself again. That's where confidence is born, not from praise or approval, but from choosing yourself when it's hardest to do. You are the author of your life, whether you write the story or not. If you don't choose the direction, someone else will. If you don't shape your path, you'll be shaped by fear, by pressure, by noise. That's not fate, that's passivity. You don't need to wait for permission to rewrite the story, you just need to take the pen. Start where you are, with what you have. Even if your voice is unsure, even if the future feels unclear. Growth doesn't demand perfection, it demands participation. And the longer you postpone your evolution, the heavier the regret becomes. You weren't meant to carry regret. You were meant to carry responsibility. That's what frees you. Everything you're seeking, clarity, peace, fulfillment, is already within reach. But it will cost you your old patterns. It will ask you to let go of the excuses that feel safe. It will ask you to rise above your own doubt, again and again. That's the test. Not whether you have enough talent or time, but whether you'll keep showing up when it's hard. Because it will be hard. That's not a reason to stop. That's a reason to dig deeper, to lean in, to remind yourself that pain is not a punishment. It's a portal. It doesn't come to break you. It comes to wake you, to shake the numbness from your spirit and force you to choose, survive, or transform. There is no version of your life where waiting leads to change. There is no outcome where comfort births greatness. If you want a life that lights you up from the inside, you have to stop dimming your own flame. You have to stop settling for days that drain you. Stop lying to yourself about what you can handle. Just because you can endure something doesn't mean you should. You deserve a life that fits the depth of your soul. And that begins the moment you say no to less. The moment you choose to believe that what you feel inside isn't a fantasy. It's a future waiting for you to claim it. So claim it, relentlessly, unapologetically. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours. You were never meant to live a life of quiet frustration. You were not born just to follow routines, pay bills, and silence your dreams. There is a fire inside you, even if it's just a spark right now. That spark is your truth. It's the part of you that still believes there is more. More purpose, more meaning, more to become. You feel it when the noise fades. You hear it in the moments between distractions. And the only reason it hurts is because you've tried to suppress it. But that pain is not a problem. It's a signal. It means you're still alive, still capable, still being called towards something greater than comfort, something deeper than safety, something more honest than pretending. You're not here to simply function. You're here to feel, to connect, to contribute. You're here to grow into the kind of person who doesn't just adapt to life but shapes it. But that kind of life doesn't come by accident. It comes through conscious rebellion against everything that numbs you. You must stop settling for average when excellence is calling. You must stop treating your potential like it's optional. It's not. It's essential. Because when you ignore what you're meant for, the world loses the impact only you can make. You weren't given your unique wiring by mistake. Your ideas, your energy, your voice, none of it is random. It all points to a path that only you can walk. Growth begins when you decide that you're worth the effort, that your future is worth the discipline, that your peace is worth the sacrifice. It will take everything fake out of you, the masks, the pleasing, the pretending. But what remains is real, and what's real is powerful. You don't become your best self through force. You become it through alignment, by choosing actions that match your highest values, by showing up when it's easier to escape, by becoming someone your future self will thank, not resent. There's no freedom in delay. Every excuse steals a little more life from your vision. Every time you say maybe later, you teach your mind that your dreams aren't a priority, that your well-being can wait, that your calling can be ignored. But it can't, not forever. Because no matter how long you wait, the ache remains. The longing never leaves. It just grows quieter, buried under the noise of distraction. But it never dies. Because it's not just a wish, it's your design trying to lead you back to yourself. This moment is not just another moment, it is a choice point. Right now, you can choose to keep drifting or to wake up. You can keep surviving your days, Or you can start creating a life that reflects your truth. Not a perfect life, not an easy life, but a real one. One built on courage, one built on clarity, one built by you, fully awake, fully alive, and finally ready to become everything you were born to be. There's a reason you keep feeling restless, a reason you can't stay content with surface-level living. That pull inside of you isn't confusion, it's direction. It's your soul trying to break through the weight of expectation. You weren't meant to blend in with a life that doesn't reflect who you are. You weren't made to adjust to emptiness and call it balance. There is more for you, not because you're broken or behind, but because you've barely touched the edge of your capacity. You've lived long enough in fragments. Now it's time to become whole. Not by chasing perfection, but by owning your power and refusing to abandon it just to fit in. You don't have to explain your evolution to people who are comfortable with your past. You don't need validation from those who never saw your vision. Let go of the need to be understood by everyone. You're not here to be predictable. You're here to be real, to stand in the kind of truth that makes others uncomfortable because it's not watered down. When you choose alignment over approval, you stop shrinking. You start expanding. And that expansion isn't arrogance. It's integrity. It's what happens when you stop apologizing for your intensity, your ambition, your depth. Your light doesn't dim anyone else's. If it threatens them, it's because they haven't found their own yet. Keep shining anyway. The path you're meant for won't always feel easy, but it will feel right. Not because it's free from obstacles, but because it leads you home to yourself. When you move in truth, resistance doesn't mean stop, it means grow. Every struggle becomes a signal that you're becoming someone stronger. And strength isn't just about what you can carry, it's about what you're finally willing to set down. The guilt, the fear, the pressure to be everything to everyone. You're not responsible for everyone's expectations. You're responsible for your own becoming. And that's more than enough. You are not falling behind. You are unfolding, in your own rhythm, at your own pace. Stop comparing your life to timelines that were never yours to begin with. Your value isn't found in milestones. It's found in your willingness to stay true when everything around you demands compromise. Some of the most powerful progress happens in silence, in the invisible moments when you choose discipline over distraction, presence over performance, purpose over comfort. Those choices don't always get applause, but they build a foundation no storm can shake. If you're waiting for a sign, this is it. A whisper turned into a roar. A quiet reminder that you were made for more than coping. You were made to create, to lead, to disrupt. Not because life owes you anything, but because you owe it to yourself to become what you were always capable of being. Let this be the moment you stop running from your reflection. Let this be the breath where everything changes. Not because you finally arrived, but because you finally remembered who you are. Everything changes when you decide to stop abandoning yourself. The moment you stop negotiating your worth with fear, something inside you rises, not louder but deeper, more grounded, more certain. You begin to remember that your value was never up for debate. It was never meant to be measured by achievements or compared to anyone else's success. You were whole long before the world convinced you to chase wholeness. You were powerful before you believed you needed permission to be. The gap you feel isn't because you're missing something, it's because you've been ignoring what's already inside you. Your life doesn't need fixing, it needs alignment. Most people wait. They wait for the right moment, the right sign, the perfect feeling. But waiting is a trap disguised as patience. There is no perfect moment, there is only now. Every delay teaches your nervous system to settle for survival. But you were not built to endure a life you secretly resent. You were built to participate in your own awakening, not by force, but by honesty. To sit with your discomfort and stop numbing it, to face your habits and stop excusing them, to look at your patterns and finally take responsibility for the ones that keep costing you peace. This is where the real work begins, not in trying to impress anyone, but in choosing integrity over image. You will never feel fully ready to become who you're meant to be. Growth doesn't come with guarantees, it comes with courage. Courage to let go of what's familiar. Courage to step into uncertainty. Courage to rise each day and choose progress over perfection. The fear doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're at the edge of transformation. And that's where all breakthroughs live, just beyond what you've done before. But you can't evolve from a place of self-rejection. You have to believe you're worth changing for. Not someday. Not when you're better. Now. As you are. That belief is the seed of every lasting change. It's easy to feel like the world moves without you, like you're stuck on the sidelines while others figure it out. But that's a lie your doubt tells to keep you still. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply in the part of the journey that requires trust more than results. Keep showing up. Keep choosing depth over distraction. Keep reminding yourself that real growth takes time, but every second spent in truth adds power to your foundation. No effort is wasted when it's aligned with your becoming. You were never meant to play small to make others comfortable. You were never meant to shrink to fit into spaces that don't honor your expansion. The real you is not too much. The real you is exactly enough. And the more you commit to living from that truth, the more your life begins to reflect it. This is not the end. This is the rise. The moment you stop looking for permission and start creating your own way forward. Unapologetically, unshakably, fully, you. You don't need more time. You need more truth. The kind that strips away every excuse you've used to stay stuck. The kind that doesn't negotiate with fear or delay. The kind that asks you to stop hiding behind potential and start living in purpose. You already know what you're capable of. It's not confusion that holds you back. It's hesitation. It's the belief that if you wait long enough, something outside of you will change first. But nothing changes until you do. Your next level isn't waiting for circumstances to improve. It's waiting for you to decide that staying the same costs too much. Every day you wake up with a choice. To keep repeating the version of you that feels safe, or to rise into the one that feels real. Not the one that's always calm or perfect, but the one that's bold enough to feel, to try, to stretch, to risk. The one that doesn't just survive, but dares to create. That version of you is not a fantasy. It's a decision. A choice to show up with honesty even when it's hard. A choice to hold yourself to a higher standard. Not out of pressure, but because you know there's more in you. And you're tired of pretending there isn't. You will never outgrow the need to fight for your own alignment. Life will always test your consistency. But progress isn't about being flawless. It's about being faithful. To your values. To your vision. To your future self. And that faith isn't built in comfort. It's built in the moments you feel least motivated but choose to act anyway. It's built in discipline, in small choices repeated with big intention, in the quiet work that no one sees but you. That's where character is forged. That's where transformation lives. Not in what you do once, but in what you do when it's inconvenient. Don't wait for clarity to begin. Begin, and clarity will follow. Action reveals what overthinking hides. You don't find confidence by wishing for it. You build it by doing hard things repeatedly. By showing yourself you're trustworthy with your own dreams. There's no shortcut for this, no cheat code, only truth and the courage to move through it. Growth is not meant to feel easy. It's meant to stretch you. To teach you what's possible when you stop settling for potential and start executing with purpose. Every moment you hesitate is a moment you delay the life that's calling you forward. You're not just here to survive your circumstances. You're here to master them. To rise with intention. To move with power. To live like your presence matters, because it does. The world doesn't need another echo. It needs your voice, your clarity, your fire. Don't wait for the right conditions. Be the reason the conditions shift. Because the life you want won't arrive by accident. It will arrive by decision. One bold choice at a time, starting now. The moment you stop waiting to feel ready is the moment your life begins to shift. Readiness is not a feeling. It's a decision to stop being ruled by fear and start being led by vision. Most people confuse comfort with safety, but comfort zones are cages. They don't protect you. They limit you. And what they really rob you of is the chance to find out who you could become if you stopped living for approval and started living for alignment. You don't need more time to prepare. You need the courage to begin before the fear disappears. That's where confidence is born, not from ease, but from movement in the face of resistance. Your potential doesn't lie in who you've been. It lives in who you're willing to become. Not the perfect version, not the polished one, but the one that shows up when it's hard. The one that keeps going without applause. The one that doesn't let the noise outside drown out the truth inside. Your life isn't waiting for the right moment to change. It's waiting for the real you to show up and take ownership of your direction. Not with blame, not with regret, but with clarity, responsibility, and power. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are the choice you make right now. What you tolerate becomes your standard. And what you settle for silently becomes the shape of your life. If you keep shrinking your dreams to match your doubts, you'll never know how far you could have gone. The discomfort you're avoiding is the doorway to your expansion. You can't grow in the same environment that made you feel small. So step back, evaluate, reflect, then rise with intention. Because your peace is not found in pleasing others. Your peace is found in becoming honest with yourself. And honesty is the path to freedom. You are allowed to outgrow who you used to be. You are allowed to stop explaining your evolution to people who only understand the old version of you. Let them misunderstand. Let them doubt. The journey isn't theirs to comprehend. It's yours to embody. You don't need validation to evolve. You need commitment. Daily, quiet, sometimes unrecognizable commitment. That's where the shift happens. That's where the transformation begins. Not in dramatic moments, but in consistent alignment. Your life reflects what you've accepted as true. So raise your standards, not just in what you want, but in what you believe you deserve. Speak to yourself with the same belief you offer others. Hold yourself with the same compassion you extend to everyone else, because your inner dialogue shapes your outer reality. If you want your world to change, your words must first empower. This is where everything turns, not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. This is the moment you choose to rise, not in perfection, but in truth, not in noise, but in power. Because this life will not wait, and neither should you.